Hello, gorgeous Leo Pride, and welcome to December 2020. And boy, do we have a lot to cover for December 2020. I mean, I think it's such a fitting closeout month to this powerful year, and there's just a lot happening. The sun's moving through the fifth house for Leos, fellow fire sign, Sagittarian energy. This is really great for comforting and supporting your heart. So the first 3 weeks of this month, while very powerful, are also extremely supportive of you when it comes to connecting with your heart. And that's one of the first messages I want to bring to you, is that leading with your heart and allowing your heart to be as ever present as it ever was is so important. At the end of 2020, there is probably going to be a part of you, and for many of us, not everyone, where you're just kind of tired and you feel like, I can't lead with heart anymore. That's scary. And one thing that I am noticing this month and in general is that it's more important than ever for Leos to be open to sharing with their heart and leading with their heart and shining bright and doing that beautiful Leonine work. And it's just nice to be reminded of that, because sometimes I think when you're working with Leo energy, people will tell you you're extra, you're too dreamy, you think too big, you're too much, all these things, that those are those voices of fear that are afraid of like the warmth, right? And it's sometimes easy to start to believe that, right? And it's easy to start to believe you should make yourself smaller, and you should maybe be less optimistic and warm and bright and fiery. You should be less of those things. And I think December, it's just important to remember that, and closing out this year and going through also eclipse season and kind of sitting with what it is that you have gained or learned and kind of coming to understanding of 2020, it's important to always remember that you are allowed to come back to your heart space and shine bright. Even if you are feeling complex emotions and there's a lot of ups and downs, it's still important to go back to that place. In fact, the first couple weeks of this month we're in eclipse season, and then we hit right into the new moon and eclipse in Sagittarius, fifth house. This is about what you really want to do with your heart, that beautiful heart in your life, that beautiful creative vision that you have. It's a great place to just sit and really get honest with yourself. But of course, there's another big thing happening. I'm going to start shuffling here. And I do really want to take a minute to address this specifically for Leos, because I think it's important. So Jupiter and Sagittarius, yes, or Jupiter and Saturn are moving into Aquarius. That's what I meant to say, right? Opposing sign to Leo. And that's happening like the 17th and 18th. Saturn and Jupiter are moving over there, and then they join together. They have a conjunction on the 21st in Aquarius on the solstice. Like, once again, can't make this stuff up. It's like, let's close this year out in full style. Like this is a big period on the end of the Saturn and Capricorn journey. But there's a lot of information out there about, Saturn when it opposes your sign. That's really scary and negative, the way it's talked about. Oh, this is going to be the hardest time. You're going to physically feel exhausted. Everything's going to be harder. Everything's going to be worse. And I find that that's a really essential misunderstanding of what Saturn does, what Saturn brings, and how to work with Saturn. For me, it's just like you're missing huge chunks of the picture if you just think about Saturn, because the reality is Saturn is somewhere all the time. So if Saturn is just going to make you tired all the time, like it's going to be like, that's going to be your whole life, is you being in a universe with a Saturn that is making different parts of your life lackluster and depressing. And that to me just seems like a really problematic worldview, and one that I am going to put under serious review right here, right now. Because here's the thing with Saturn. Saturn does want us to be truthful and does want us to be very clear on what it is that is good for us, what it is that is working for us. And when we're actually listening to that, Saturn will help us build that stuff in life. Saturn will help us make those things happen in very practical, grounded ways. And this is 7th house energy. This is oppositional energy. So this is going to be about how you connect to the world, the ones you love and your projects and all of that, how you relate. So it's asking for deep honesty around that. So yeah, maybe you will feel tired or drained if you keep trying to plug yourself into scenarios that aren't serving you. Yeah, that could definitely happen the next few years. However, if you are listening to yourself, listening to your heart, making those micro adjustments, Page of Wands, Saturn's going to help you build. Now, we're not going to be able to cover all of Saturn's transit through Leo, right? And there's a lot of mystery there. We're going to be exploring this together for all the months to come. But there's also this other beautiful thing happening, which is Jupiter is fun to have in your 7th house. This is going to amplify and empower your relationships and empower your connections and give you, 10 of Cups, and give you so much support when it comes to relating and connecting. And that is a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to address those things. Like I said, we're not going to cover 7 of Pentacles. Definitely a time of review in December. I just wanted to address that right here and right now and just get that clear. I'm also going to be over on Patreon doing a much deeper dive on how to work with Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius and to get used to that energy just in general for all of us, because it is so different from anything we have worked with. Page of Cups. Wow, Leo. Okay. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to definitely ride this train of cards right here. This is so beautiful. What was I saying? Oh yeah, December, a lot of it is just shifting gears. A lot of things are happening. So we have those eclipses, and we have Chiron moving direct in Aries, and we have Saturn and Jupiter moving signs, which is a pretty big deal. And then we have the solstice and a shift into Capricorn season and the closeout of the solar year as well as the Julian calendar year. So to me, when you look at December, it's like, that's a lot. How do I work with that? It's important to just know that there are waves of these initiations happening, and you don't need to get it all done this month. It's important to just observe and witness. And like I said, for you, I think, Leo, what's really important here is to recommit to that heart leadership energy, recommit to that bright, vivacious energy. We didn't get the sun card in this reading, but I think about that kid riding that horse and how much he is just in that element, right? That childlike, playful element that often produces the most joyful things that we have in this world. It's not the serious, stern, I have to have this be perfect. It's the energy that is very human, that is very organic, right? And so December, it's important for you to come home hard on that. Don't let all this other noise and static and shifts and all of that stop you or cut you off from that, because I'm seeing it here too with the cards. Like, if you are willing to just go straight to that place of knowing, straight to that place of empowerment, that Leonine knowing that is so strong, because Leo is the leader. Leo is the ruler, and that is a big energy to fill. And I know a lot of Leos sometimes just feel like, I am not in the mood. I just want to be a cat and I want to go in the corner and take a nap. That's so true. But there is this beautiful thing that happens where Leos, when they decide that they are going to be in the knowing and they're going to be with divine and they're going to be in that space, really good things happen, and it benefits a lot of other people as well. So that's my message. And right away, Page of Wands, one of my favorite energies. First of all, this is telling me that creative spark, that creative initiation could be quite strong at the end of this year. And Page of Wands to me is not the perfectionist, right? This guy is just trying things out. And I love that about Page of Wands, because it's that willingness to just see what happens that often gets the ball rolling on a lot of other things, right? But it's without feeling like you have a stake in it, or like it has to be a certain way, or like you might be missing a piece of the puzzle. There is a youthful naivete to the Page of Wands that I really love. And it does bring in new initiations and new good things, right? And for you, hello, 10 of Cups, one of the clearest, crispest energies, crispest crispest or most crisp. I don't know how, I have never thought about that. Energies that you can get in tarot, right? Because this is about places of joy. Now, 10 is also really interesting because it's a culmination energy, right? It's like coming to some kind of vantage point where you see all the growth you've had. Like, the thing is that, yes, these people are in this happy, loving relationship, and the kids are happy, and they're all surrounded by people that really love them and nourish them. There's also this like thing behind the scenes, which is that this was a road, right? This was a process. This was a becoming. This was a series of actions and commitments and choices that kept creating loving relationship. And on one hand, this is a great time to give yourself some credit for this year. Just do that. Recognize that this year has brought you a lot. Also recognize everything that Saturn has brought you during its time in Capricorn. Because that's been 3 years of a journey for sure. And the other thing that I see with 10 of Cups is, remember how I said Saturn wants to give us the best and wants us to adjust accordingly to what is really good for us. And I think 10 of Cups speaks to, there is so much joy to be had in the coming months if you are willing to show up on the path that creates this kind of energy, which means that there's those micro adjustments and there's those showing ups. And you're not going to get that all done this month. And you don't need to worry about getting it all done this month. But tapping into this space is so powerful for you. And there's something about this that I just get this sense, it's like, it's not your responsibility to lift everybody else up and like, you know, fix the world. But Leo, if you let yourself go here, the ripple effects of that are huge. And that comes back to you over and over again. And that's what I'm seeing here. Now, yes, there is pause and reflection here. And that's very natural for eclipse season, first of all, and for December in general, and for the closeout of a Saturn transit and a Jupiter transit. So while I keep talking about you needing to shine bright and be big and just let your Leo self just tap back into that bold part of yourself that maybe has receded a little bit or gone into hiding or needed a nap. You know, I've been there with, believe me, you all, like the first, like from March through really October, I was really working on finding that boldness, and coming back to it has been really great. But yes, come back to that boldness. Also, you know, it's just a time to look over everything, to honor what you've done, to honor who you've become, to honor the skill sets you've amassed. And also, Seven of Pentacles is really important and really specific on what you want to harvest next year. You're not going to want to harvest the entire garden, because it will end up with you just being spread too thin. So you just want to take a moment and really intentionally think about what it is you want to harvest, right? And just, you don't have to pick up all 50 million pieces of all the things you think you may want to harvest at some point, or you should be harvesting, or whatever. This is coming back to the basics, those 2 or 3 things you want to harvest, and get really clear about that. Now, Page of Cups, great news coming in, and I love this. And I have to say, the end of December 30th, we'll have this full moon in Cancer to kind of close out 2020, which I love because Cancerian energy is just my jam. I'm married to a Cancerian, so it's, yeah, I'm a little partial, but it's also just really healing energy. And for me, this Page of Cups is kind of speaking to big, beautiful messages coming in. And also, full moon in Cancer, this is 12th house spiritual energy for you. This is like you getting your energetic refill from behind the scenes, right? Not just in you doing and being and acting and all of that, but being connected to that hidden part of Leo. And here's the thing, I think one thing that Leos have been learning for a while now has been that You're not required to be in like that fire modality where you're like burning the candle at both ends and being bright and vibrant all the time to everybody, and that's how you get things done. Leos are allowed to tap into the spiritual part of Leo energy, which is extremely spiritual actually, in order to get their fuel, in order to go out and share that energy. And I think there's a reminder here with especially these last couple of cards, that it's okay to go back to that hidden space in order to bring it forward again. So you may be finding there's kind of a in and out, moving of the tides kind of energy moving through you in December. And yes, there is an adjustment. There is a tuning of the radio this month. I keep saying that for everybody, but we're turning the radio dial to Aquarius, and it's just a very different feel, and we're calibrating and we're getting used to it, and we're noticing new things that are bubbling up about what we want and what we care about, right? And so it's a really great month to just be perceptive to those shifts, and just bear witness to those, because it is intense. Now, I'm just seeing beautiful things for you all, though, if you're willing to give yourself some grace and just listen in. I have some affirmations to take with you for December, this powerful, powerful December. Here they are. I welcome deep, true, full connections into my life. I allow creativity to pour from my heart and shine bright. I feel grounded, clear, and full of self-love. I trust my creative impulses to lead me to new, beautiful places. Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me with Leos is go back to the knowing every time, and just don't ever leave there. You know, there's a deep, divine knowing you have. And you're allowed to wake up every day and plug right into that. And just practice plugging right into that. It's important to do that this month. It gets you connected into something really, really strong. I am so excited. I'm so excited to see this for you all. I will be doing those extra resources over on Patreon for our shift into this Aquarian energy with Jupiter and Saturn, and to close out 2020 in style, and to have some worksheets and some initiations so that we really feel nourished. So if you're looking for a cozy place to hang out and grab a cup of tea, come over to Patreon. We have such a great time. And for those of you who are already with me, you know how much I appreciate you. You can also find me on my website or on Instagram. I'll leave all of my links in the description box so you can find me. And you can also find PinkLune. I'm wearing her tourmaline and some rose quartz. You can find all of her new creations on her Etsy shop, so I'll leave her link below as well. And I will see you all in January 2021, and also for these moons ahead in December. So I look forward to seeing you there. And I love you, Leo Pride. Shine bright. I'll talk to you soon.